Good afternoon, Stone Seekers. It is Loko 4 here for another episode of Across the Realm. And sadly, it is just me today. Bear continues to be on his adventures. It reminds me back in my childhood of a show and video game known as Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Hopefully, that song doesn't get stuck in your head if you know what I'm talking about. But it's kind of like, Where in the world is Bear? And he is not here. But that's okay. We're going to continue on. It'll be a little shorter show today. But first, let's get started with what's up with Wonders. The first thing to know is our Radish tournament, due to just not much participation, is going to be canceled for this month. So, Brutus, talking to you and anyone else who is thinking about it, our tournament is not on this month of September. Hopefully, we can pick it back up in October. Maybe it was kind of back to school blues or fall setting in, but lack of play means we're going to cancel for now. But stay tuned because there's still lots of wonders to be played. Moving on, we are going to talk about a bracket that is still intact, and that is the bracket of our champions. So here we go. We have a matchup in our semifinals of the Space Lich and Drogatharth the Destroyer. So we know that whoever wins is going to be up against Emma Shockbite Fixum. Stay tuned. We're going to talk a little more about Emma after this. So you better get your votes in because this is going to be wrapping up soon. Who will it be? We have our Space Lich here. I know a lot of people were a fan of this art with his giant orb there just looking down saying, yep, I am better than you. Now, Drogatharth the Destroyer, though, I mean, giant dragon, huge fire, huge flames. His ability was crazy back when we were playing on tabletop, where he would just go and destroy anything he could find. So this matchup, I don't know. It's dark all around when we have our Lich or Dragathor. Radish is saying Dragathor. He says he wants the dragon. You know, I already got my vote in, and I voted for the Space Lich. I like the color of it. We'll see what happens. Either way, I think that Emma is going to have quite a challenge ahead of her. Now, speaking of Emma, and this is for all of you out there who are saying in Discord and everywhere else, is it November yet? When are my cards going to be here? I want to rip them. Well, we have a little treat for you. If you aren't already, and we called this company out a while back, Shock'em Comics. I'm on their Twitter right now. Shock'em Comics. They have taken Emma. And they have taken Emma Fixum Shotbite and are making a comic. And the first comic has gone to print. We look at this post here. It says, since issue 001 has gone to print, it's time for you to meet some characters featured in issue 001. This was 20 hours ago, so less than a day ago, this was posted. Now, I paused it here on Emma for us. This is their take on Emma Fixum Shockbite. Orbital, Heliosynth. Residence, the Resonance Reach. Profession, Mercenary. Weapon of choice, Helios Heat Cannon. 5'11". Emma is as tall as me. That's crazy. Eyes golden hazel, hair brown. A nice tattoo of the Shockbite Mercenary unit. Talks about her personality there and her relationships. If you scroll down into the Twitter, it also gives some details about her glasses and what those mean. But like I said, Shock'em Comics, Emma Fixum Shockbite, 001 has gone to print. So I'm excited to see what that entails. So I'm imagining that those might be in our hands. Yes, you'll have to make that purchase if you want before our cards. So it might be something to tide you over. So make sure to head over to Shock'em Comics. The link's right there. And take a look at this comic for Emma Fixum Shockbite. The comic itself is going to be called Emma Rise of a Mythic. So the comic itself is Emma Rise of a Mythic. And I've done some research on the characters, and these characters are members of, or Wonders of the First World. So this is going to be pretty cool. So make sure you check out Shock'em Comics to take a look at Emma Rise of a Mythic. All right. So you're wondering, okay, got to wait for this comic. Wonders tournament is on hold right now. What else am I going to do with our time while we wait for November? Well, our orbital challenge is still in play. The orbital challenge Thalwyn. Now, I did some searching. I'm not the best searching on social media, but I included the hashtag WonderCCG. I included the hashtag orbital challenge. And I only found a few entries. I didn't find anything on Instagram. Maybe I did it wrong, but I only found about 3 entries, I believe, on Twitter or X. So review. From your expeditions across sea and sky, what treasures have you portaled home from distant lands? Basically, we want to see your collectibles from your travels. Or if you haven't traveled there, we want to see your collectibles from elsewhere. If you're in the United States like me, maybe from someplace outside of the United States. Contestants will be rewarded. Our last one was a whole booster box. I forget what this one was. I think Bear mentioned a mini box, but don't quote me on that. But there will be some rewards. So let's take a look and see what's on here. So we do have some entries. There are 3 that I found on X here. Thai Life back September 14th, so yesterday. An old bronze cast Naga with gold leaf on it from worship out of Thailand. Naga blessed by monks and worshipped by many for his divine knowledge. It was a gift from a Thai family for good luck and knowledge on Thai Life's travels. So there it is. That's pretty amazing. Hopefully I pronounced that right, Naga. All right. We had another entry. This comes to us, Steve and Tom. They like to collect currency from places we visit. So if we take a look here at some of the currency, I recognize pesos there. I think I saw krona or something here. I don't know if it's Sweden. Looks like there's Bolivia, Venezuela, Bank of Korea. It's GIA unit. GIA unit. There it is. I see it. GIA unit. And we have one more entry that I saw from yours truly. Yes, I'm entering as well. I like to portal beer from Germany to the United States. I'm a part of a project, Metabrew, and I had done beer reviews a couple years back and won, well, hopefully beer for life, at least 3 years, but hopefully beer for life. And so there's a beautiful rainbow of the beer I like to collect on my back patio. So yes, they ship it from Germany to me. So that's one of the treasures I portal from across the seas. So unless I'm wrong, there's only 3 that I have found on X. Like I said, my search could be bad, and I haven't found any on Instagram. So still lots of opportunity here. Submit your challenge. Submit what you portal from other worlds, what you collect, other worlds. That'd be amazing. Maybe you have a meteorite. I don't know. What you portal from other countries, maybe outside of yours. Baldwin challenge. Keep them coming. All right. The deadline. Let me go back. Let's see here. Let me go back. Let's see. I'm watch my lack of skill on the social media. It had said in 2 weeks, and this was posted on September 6th. So this was posted on September 6th. A winner will be chosen in 2 weeks. So roughly September 20th, if I did that math correctly. So still some time. You got this week for you to finish the Baldwin challenge. Don't forget, tag orbital challenge. So hashtag orbital challenge and hashtag WonderCCG. I know some people are adding WonderCCG as well, but this is what's required so Bear can look up your responses. Looking forward to seeing a lot more from that. Thank you those who have participated already. All right. We talked about the Baldwin challenge. We have a couple more things coming up in our show. We're going to focus on a card of the week. There's been an updated card that got posted on social media. I'll give you a little take on my strategy that I look at, and then we're going to see if there's any questions from our audience as well. So here we go. We're going to continue sharing our screen. Let's take a look at a Patria card that has been updated. Now, remember, any card you're going to see posted from here on out is our final version. So here we go. I have 2 side-to-sides. This was taken from Tabletop Simulator, the most up-to-date I found of Ethereal Grove. And this was posted on a Wonder social media. I caught it on Facebook this last couple days. So let's take a look first at the right one. That's the old Ethereal Grove. You can tell it's old too just from the art here where it has the green Patria and says Patria there. But we're going to look at some differences. Now, I really like this card as it was. It's a land, but if I play this land in a realm that is empty, notice it also says zone. That's how old this card is. It used to be zones instead of realms. If I play it in a realm that's empty, I can create a 3-power Fungorian Plant Rider token with Symbiosis here. Now, it is an on-arrival ability. So, on arrival, boom, nothing else is in the realm. That means on my side or my opponent's side of the realm. That land is there, and then a 3-power Plant Rider token shows up with Symbiosis, meaning it could copy something with 3 power. This was also a secondary land, so I could have 3 of them in there. I thought this land was extremely powerful for Patria for a couple reasons. One, secondary, I can have 3 of them, and it's creating then basically 3 tokens with 3 power if I play it right. The second reason is those tokens came in with Symbiosis, so they could copy an ability of a wonder that matched their power, that had 3 power. So that's 2 reasons I thought it was pretty powerful. Secondary, so I could have more than 1, or excuse me, more than 2. I could have 3 of them in there. And it created that not only a 3-power token, but the 3-power token had Symbiosis, so it could copy as well. Now, the downfall of this is you'd have to time it right. So I'd want to potentially, if this was in my hand first, be first player, to pop it in there before someone could put something in a realm, because that realm had to be empty. If it wasn't, I wouldn't get the on-arrival ability, but it was still a basic land where I could gain 1 action. So let's see how Ethereal Grove has been updated. So let's look over here to the left. It's a little better quality, pulled right off Wonder's social media. Still on arrival. It says on arrival, Symbiosis with land. This copies the abilities of target land. So we still have the Symbiosis. However, it's going to copy target land. So you're not going to get a token that's considered a wonder to copy the ability of another wonder. You're now going to have a land with Symbiosis. So this Ethereal Grove will copy the land. Now, what I like about this is also how it's cleaned up this text. So we can compare the right card to the left card. That left text is an example of what you're going to see for these final cards. And someone already commented, how clean it looks. It does have Patria Link, talks about harvest, gain 1 action. You can see over here how it described harvest. In the rules, it talked about orbital link. Now it's on the card there. So I really like how that ability is nice and clean. I like how the text look as well. It's even easier to read, not just due to the quality, but due to the font they chose and everything. I really like the look of it. There's one other major change to this card. It is now a primary land, meaning you can only have up to 2. Only have up to 2. So nerf or not, I mean, I don't know. You still get the Symbiosis, but it's copying a land instead of a wonder. Granted, I'm not going to get that 3-power token, and it is limited to 2. I would say maybe this was seeing a little bit of nerf. It might have been a little OP in people's decks. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm still going to enjoy it. I really like this idea of copying a land ability. I think the downfall will be if my opponent's playing a lot of those lands that say, when you play a 3rd Umber-themed land, untap this, or look at the top card of your deck. If it's Umber-themed, draw it. If it's not, bury it. If it's something like that, won't be the best. But the cool thing is it's on arrival Symbiosis, so I could also copy an on arrival of another land. So it'll be interesting to see if Ethereal Grove still stays in people's decks or what people think of that. So remember, any card you see posted now from the team in a Discord or in a social media, especially social media, that's going to be the published card, our final card. So Ethereal Grove, there you go, card of the week. All right, we'll stop sharing our screen here and talk a little bit of strategy. So my life right now is a little busy. I'm older, got a few kids, full-time job, so my days of card playing are more for fun. So my strategy when I play cards is how can I maximize the fun I have? But I've played quite a bit, whether it be physical card games or digital. So I'll talk a little bit about one of the things I look at. Yeah, one of the things I look at when I'm playing any game. We like to play board games with the family, card games with friends, card games with kids at school. And so I look at resource management. Now, I'll kind of take you a path through some of the card games I played. So I have a younger brother and quite younger, about 8 years. And I basically funded his Yu Gi Oh addiction. And so I learned to play Yu Gi Oh way back in the day. And I would say that's the card game I was most serious with. Now, with Yu Gi Oh, the big thing for advantage is card advantage. And so we had hand advantage, the cards in our hand, and then we had card advantage on the board. And basically, if you had a card advantage, you would have a higher chance of potentially winning. And so cards that would give you a +1 to that advantage would be ones that were staples or people would have in their deck. So if we talk Yu-Gi-Oh, Pot of Greed, where you just draw 2 cards. You play 1 card, you draw 2. So that nets me 1 card advantage. A Graceful Charity, you drew 3 and discarded 2. So that netted me 1 card advantage. There were some discard cards you could play against your opponent. So Delinquent Duo, my opponent would discard 2 cards. So once again, I played 1 card, they discarded 2. One of my favorite decks to play was in the end, towards the end, I guess, of my competitive career, was a gadget deck where I would play this card called a gadget. And then every time I played it, I got to draw one from my deck. So no matter what, I always had one more card than my opponent. And so Yu-Gi-Oh to me was a game of just card advantage in hand and on the board. And once again, if you could accomplish that, I felt I was more likely to win. So my buddy, he played a lot of Magic the Gathering. I had the chance back in middle school. We chose to play Star Trek collectible card game instead of Magic the Gathering. So a little mistake there. So Magic the Gathering, now this is my take on it. I'm more of an amateur when it comes to Magic the Gathering. I saw it as having to have card advantage, and then you needed that land for your mana. And so as long as I had mana out, I could play a card as long as I had the appropriate mana and I could, or land, and then tap it to gain mana to pay that cost. So Yu-Gi-Oh, I just needed the cards to play. Granted, there were some rules there. Where Magic, now I needed the card to play, but I also needed the mana or the land. So a lot of times people would talk about getting mana screwed or land screwed, which means I didn't have the lands out I needed. Wasn't able to generate the mana to play my cards, and that could be very frustrating. And so resource management there to me was the cards on the field in my hand as well as the mana. So now I'm going to go to some more digital card games. So I played a bit of Hearthstone and Legends of Runeterra. And the cool thing about Hearthstone is it got rid of, at least when I played it, that feeling of getting mana screwed, because every round it just gave everybody +1 mana to play. So round 1 I had a mana, round 2 I had 2, round 3 I had 3. So I no longer had to worry about putting land or mana in my deck to manage. So Hearthstone took that away, but I still had to manage my mana appropriately to see what cards I wanted to play. Legends of Runeterra took it a step further, where it gave you mana each turn, but then you also had a little pool of up to 3 mana you could save to play your spell cards. So hand management there, management on the field or the board, your mana management, and then you had this like sub mana management as well. And so I felt that kind of upped the complexity. Maybe between Magic and Hearthstone, it took it away because I didn't have to build a deck with land for mana, but I didn't mind that. So now let's move to Wonders of the First, resource management. This is where it hits home for me most when people talk about Wonders of the First feeling like a chess match. So there's a few things you need to manage for resources in Wonders of the First. First off, like any card game, card management. All right. Card advantage, still advantageous. But the cool thing about Wonders of the First is you could draw a card using an action. This is the first game, at least collectible card game I've played, where I can choose to spend an action to draw a card. Typical card games I have played, you have to play a card that says, draw this card, or a card with an ability that says, when it attacks or something, draw a card. So I begin to wonder, okay, is the hand management, card management that big of a deal? Because I can now draw a card on an action. And I'm going to tell you the answer still is yes. That's a big deal because the cards are how you're going to make your plays. So card management was still a thing. Energy management. This would be the closest you can get maybe to the mana. So it follows the same trend as Hearthstone and Legends of Runeterra, where each round we get to gain an energy. However, this one has a twist where if you have a stone, you get another energy. So there's another layer there when it comes to energy. And so energy is similar to that mana, where you're going to have a card that costs a certain energy and you can play it. So you have hand management, card management on the field as well. You have your mana, in this case, energy management. Now, here's something new, the action management. So the third thing, the action management. And I feel this is the most important thing in Wonders. In Yu-Gi-Oh, action-wise, if I was out of cards or something, I'm not going to be able to play, right? And I wouldn't want to necessarily play my whole hand out anyway. This was back in the day. Magic, if I'm out of mana and can't play a card, well, I'm not going to play. Wonders, that's the same with Runeterra and Hearthstone. Wonders, you get 3 actions no matter what to start with. You get 3 actions. There is no, I don't have cards to play. I don't have mana. You're going to get those 3 actions. And what you do with those actions are extremely important. The nice thing about Wonders too is this idea of lands. So I've watched many games where it gets towards the end and maybe someone's losing and they're like, I'm not too worried. I have like a +3 or +4 land advantage to my opponent. So you're going into round 6, round 7, and they see that +4 is having 4 more actions than their opponent. So sure, they might be behind in stones, but they've managed their actions or their land so much that they can now tap into that resource and have an advantage of actions. So lands in Wonders of the First are going to give you that action advantage. So if I review, we had card advantage, whether my hand or the world in Wonders. We had energy advantage. We're going to have action advantage. That's what you want as well. And then the crazy part is we did look at a land for our card of the week. Lands, are beginning to feel very important to me because lands are going to help you in a couple ways. One, they're going to help you with your energy advantage because they're going to give you a net 1 energy towards any card you play that is that orbital. And 2, they're going to help you with your action advantage because they're going to have that harvest gain 1 action. So a land basically has 0 cost because it's going to cost you 0 energy and you're going to gain that action back. And hopefully you have a land, maybe like Ethereal Grove or another thing that has a cool ability too that helps you there. So there's just my 2 cents on a little bit of overall card strategy, talking about what resources you have in Wonders of the First. And to me, what I like about Wonders of the First is those resources. There's so much there. It's a lot of complexity. That's why I think you hear people talking about Wonders feeling like a chess match. So take what you want. Maybe I'm completely off there. Those are just my 2 cents on Wonders of the First strategy. All right. So you got to deal with me and just me. I typically don't talk to myself this long, so hopefully some people were listening. Quick review. Radish tournament is off for now. Look for that maybe potentially October. Don't forget to go vote. Bracket of champions. We want to see, is it going to be Dragathor or the Space Lich against Emma Fixum Shotbike? Speaking of Emma Fixum, don't forget to go over and give some love over there for her comic with Shockham Comics. For Emma Rise of the Mythic, it is going to print. Hopefully it prints and we can read that maybe the month of October as we wait for that delivery of our cards. Thalwyn Challenge still going. I've only seen 3 entries on Twitter. Maybe my search is wrong. Maybe it's off, but I still think there's a great chance for you to win that Thalwyn Challenge. Cards of the week, biggest lesson there. Make sure you're paying attention to the cards that are getting posted everywhere because what you see is what it's going to be. So that's pretty cool. Last but not least, keep playing Wonders. I'm sure you're going to develop way better strategies than I can think of as well. I'm excited to see the playing. All right, quick review. As always, make sure to find the link for Across the Realm at radishdigital.com. digital.com/wonders. And remember, digital is spelled with a J. That's going to be it for this week of Across the Realm. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we find where Bear is, kind of like Where's Waldo, and he can join us next time.